Hey folks, Mike Dugan here for part 2 of how to take a solo on any song. What we're doing is trying to identify what key we're in. And we already talked about the resolving tone and finding the resolving tone. Now, a lot of my students have trouble. They're just starting to develop their ears. So here's what happens. I'm going to roll this track. And they start searching. All right, they start hitting different notes. They'll hear something that sounds good, and they'll say, is it this note? Listen again. It sounds pretty good, doesn't it? A lot of you think I've identified the resolving tone because this sounds good, it doesn't clash. The reason it doesn't clash is it harmonizes. It's a harmony note. Because remember, when you're playing a chord, you're having at least 3 notes that are in harmony with each other that work together. So if you accidentally hit one of those notes, you don't get thrown off track. You're going to have to really monitor yourself. Am I playing a harmony note or am I playing the root note? The root note is what you really want to identify so you can get to the resolving tone and you can find out what key you're in. You have to know what key you're in to be able to begin soloing. So in this case, I hit this note. It sounds pretty good, but it's not the resolving tone. It's a harmony note. It's a note that's contained in the chord that sounds good. So please be aware of that. Don't get frustrated. You're going to have to go through a couple experimentations of what your ear hears and what's really happening. And I'm going to help you do that. Okay, so let's say that we finally found the resolving tone. We found, listen to it enough times that we hear when it goes around to the top, then it ends up here. We see that this tone is B, okay? So let's listen again. There it is. Here's another B. Yep, that sounds good. Okay, so what I'm going to teach you today in this program is not only how to find what key you're in, but to identify what flavor the song is. Now, that's my own terminology. I appreciate you subscribing to my method, but I've been teaching for decades, and I know how to handle different levels of players and how to deliver this knowledge to you so that you can participate as a lead guitarist. Now, I'm going to assume everybody knows the Minor Pentatonic Scale. A lot of people that come to me are stuck on it, but it's a great place to start, okay? So hopefully you got your Minor Pentatonic Scale, which is this. Now, we're in the key of B. The next thing you want to know, is it B minor? Is it B major? Or is it B seventh? Mike, what is B seventh? B seventh is that bluesy sound, okay? So here's a B seventh chord that we would use in blues. Okay, so that, as opposed to this, which is minor, and finally, which is opposed to this, which is a real major sound. You hear the major, it's almost like a country sound or a country rock sound or a southern rock sound. We're going to get into all those in these future series and these different chapters. But this is chapter 2. We're just talking about the dominant 7th sound or the blues sound. Once you hear that it's dominant 7th sound, the first thing you're going to be able to play is your minor pentatonic. So let's try that right now. Simpler than that. So that's your first approach. Once you identified the key you're in, which is B, the flavor, which is a dominant 7th sound, not a major, not a minor, it's something else. It's a dominant 7th sound, and the chords are all 7th chords. All right, so when I say dominant 7th, I mean B7. I mean when we say 7th. It's the same thing. It's also called a flatted 7th in some circles. Okay, so that'll get you started. In the next series, in the next chapter, I'm going to show you how to use more with the dominant 7th sound, and we're going to explore the other 2 flavors as well. Thanks for tuning in.